Not everyone loves Clint Eastwood. And that's okay, because the truth is, no truly significant figure is universally adored, especially one who's stood his ground for over 70 years in an industry built on compromise, trends, and noise. But before we name names, let's be clear. This isn't about petty feuds or tabloid drama. It's about clashes of values, art, and ego, the kind that happen when a man refuses to bend, and the world keeps trying to make him. Why some people can't stand Clint Eastwood. It usually comes down to one of three things. He wouldn't play the game. He said things they didn't like. He succeeded on his own terms, while they followed the rules. Hollywood rewards conformity. Eastwood rewarded himself, and that kind of independence, it doesn't just inspire, it irritates. The quiet resentment of the industry insiders ask around among certain producers, studio execs, or even actors who came up in the 80s and 90s, and you'll hear a common refrain. Clint's brilliant, but good luck trying to tell him anything. He's known for shutting down notes, for walking off sets if he feels disrespected, for editing his films in total secrecy, sometimes delivering a final cut with no previews, no test screenings, no explanations. To collaborators who crave collaboration, that feels like arrogance. To studios used to control, it feels like mutiny. One veteran Warner Brothers executive once said, off the record, "Working with Clint is like trying to steer a mountain. You don't. You just hope it doesn't fall on you." That's not hatred, but it's not admiration either. It's wary respect, laced with frustration. The actors who walked away then. There are those who worked with him and came out bruised. Sandra Locke, his partner and co-star for 14 years, called their relationship emotionally abusive in her 1997 memoir. She accused him of controlling her career, isolating her, and ultimately discarding her when he moved on. Their legal battles lasted years. She died in 2018 estranged and bitter. That's not just dislike. That's deep, personal pain. Meryl Streep, while never attacking him directly, made her feelings clear in a 2017 interview when asked about American Sniper. "I think there's a difference between honoring a soldier and glorifying a war. And sometimes, the line gets blurred by people who don't understand the cost of either." It was widely read as a quiet critique of Eastwood's film, and, by extension, his worldview. She later softened her tone, but the tension lingered. Two titans of cinema on opposite sides of a moral divide. Richard Gere once called Million Dollar Baby a betrayal of the character's dignity for its ending. He believed Maggie should have lived. Eastwood believed truth was more important than comfort. Neither was wrong, but they saw the world differently. The critics who never forgave him. Then there's the critical world. For years, the New York Times, the New Yorker, and others dismissed Eastwood as just a cowboy, a fascist, for Dirty Harry, or a sentimentalist, for his later films. Pauline Kael, the legendary New Yorker critic, famously loathed him. She called High Plains Drifter a nasty little fantasy of revenge, and Dirty Harry morally repugnant. She wasn't alone. For decades, Eastwood was seen as popular but unserious, a performer, not an artist. It took Unforgiven in 1992, when he was 62, to finally force them to take him seriously. But even then, some never came around. To them, his minimalism felt like laziness, his silence like emptiness, his patriotism like propaganda. And after his 2012 RNC speech, talking to an empty chair, a whole new wave of cultural critics wrote him off as out of touch, reactionary, or a relic. To them, he wasn't just a filmmaker, he was a symbol of everything they opposed. But here's the thing. Eastwood doesn't care. He's never courted approval, never apologized for his politics, his style, or his choices. He's worked with people he liked, ignored the rest, and kept making films on his own terms. And that's the real reason some people hate him. He proved you don't need their permission to be great. In a town that runs on validation, he built an empire in silence. The irony. The same people who resent him often Borrow his language, his squint, his pacing, his use of silence. His belief that less is more. Quentin Tarantino worships him. Denis Villeneuve calls him a master. Jordan Peele says, "Get Out wouldn't exist without the beguiled, even." His critics quote his lines, even. His enemies watch his films, because love and hate aren't opposites in Hollywood. Indifference is, and no one has ever been, indifferent to Clint Eastwood. Final thought. So yes, some celebrities, critics, and collaborators don't like Clint Eastwood. Some feel hurt, some feel dismissed, some think he's wrong about the world. But that's not a flaw in him. It's proof he mattered enough to provoke. Legends don't collect friends, they collect reactions. And at 94, Clint Eastwood stands alone, not because he pushed everyone away, but because he never needed them to begin with. From Buzz of Legends, where we don't worship icons, we understand them. If you appreciate truth over flattery, hit like, subscribe, and join us as we explore the complex human stories behind the myths.